Do you know the one thing I don't like about Australia? It's the racism towards Indians. Indians get so much disrespect in this country.
We as Indians are not responsible for Indian hate, but we do 100% contribute to its proliferation.
I think that it's fair to say that out of all non-Black minorities, South Asians get like a crazy amount of hatred. I remember like watching those, high school interviews and it's like, what race would you not date? It's always Indian.
Some of y'all totally deserve the racism that you experience. Do you know the number of times I've seen an Indian in Japan out in public and I smile at them and they look away? Or they just stare at me and give me the stink eye as if I've just assaulted them or something. Why do you feel compelled to be unpleasant to other people of your own race, but then expect other races to treat you properly? Because these are the same people that will literally bend over backwards and give all smiles and pleasantries to a white person.
We as Indians are not responsible for Indian hate, but we do 100% contribute to its proliferation. I know that's hard to hear, but let me explain. The problem is twofold. While the West treats Indians, and honestly, to some degree, all South Asians as a monolith, we are aware that that is not the case, and certainly do not treat each other that way. We are so desperate to clamor for hierarchy amongst ourselves. Whether you're a Punjabi mocking Gujaratis for their motel chain, or a Gujarati mocking a South Indian for his skin tone, we are often awful to each other. Hell, we allowed a comedian like that Akash Singh to build his entire platform off of pathetic early 2000s era stereotypes of us. People like us sit in the audience and clap as he just mercilessly mocks us for how we look and what we eat and who we love and how we worship. And Americans pay him handsomely because that's how they want to see us. Guys, sometimes the call is coming from inside the house. The second problem here is that this desperate pursuit of proximity to whiteness is a hell of an addiction. When you are fighting to be part of a group that wants nothing to do with you, that hates you for your very existence, and you're willing to grin and bear your way through things like this.
Bill would not have voted for you because you're an Indian.
And not bat an eye at things like this and this. I have brown guys in the comment section of my video on the VIP list just defending their racism. See, it's one thing to tolerate cultural appropriation because you consider it acceptance. I'm not gonna fight with you on that. But it's another to tolerate overt disrespect. So honestly, why should they be expected to respect us when we can't even respect ourselves?
From one Indian to another, some of y'all totally deserve the racism that you experience. Do you know the number of times I've seen an Indian in Japan out in public and I smile at them and they look away? Or they just stare at me and give me the stink eye as if I've just assaulted them or something? Why do you feel compelled to be unpleasant to other people of your own race, but then expect other races to treat you properly? Because these are the same people that will literally bend over backwards and give all smiles and pleasantries to a white person. I just know that they're the same people. And to be honest, it's generally most Asians who do this, right? One time I went out to eat and we were waiting in line with one of my friends, and there was this Singaporean lady and her daughter in line, and I could very obviously tell that she's Singaporean because of her accent. Anyway, she starts a conversation with my friend who's a white American, and obviously she's born and bred in America now. She doesn't have even a single bit of Singaporeanness in her voice. And my friend's pretty much telling her about the program we're in. She's like, yeah, we're Jets, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, oh, I'm from Singapore. And my friend is like, no way, my friend is Singaporean. This lady looks at me, she goes, oh, okay, and continues talking to my friend as if she, I don't exist. And then she proceeds to say, oh my God, you have to tell me all about how you got to Japan because my daughter really wants to move to Japan. I applied through the Japanese embassy in Singapore as a Singaporean. If anything, you should be asking me. But you're pretending that I don't exist and actively engaging the white person why. This is literally why we got colonized. This is exactly why. It pisses me off. If you are a brown person and you see another brown person, it should just be code that, you talk to them, right? And this Singaporean lady was Chinese. And look, Chinese Singaporeans were not very good to me on a good day in Singapore. So, I don't expect them to be good to me in a foreign country. But, as a brown person, where is your dignity? This shit with worshipping white people happens in my own family. That's the most disappointing thing. It happens with my extended family, not my parents, thank God, But like, you know, my cousins and my aunts and uncles and stuff, it's honestly so disgusting. It's like, oh my god, where's your vekomana surusone?
Growing up, I always got made fun of for being Indian, especially when I moved to Saudi and came to boarding school in America, to a point where I started hating the fact that I was Indian. I was the only Indian kid in my high school that was international, and it was very hard for me to make friends because I had an accent, I looked weird, and I wasn't that athletic, and all the things that made someone American, the culture, knowing about sports, whatever it is, I didn't have any of that. I had zero clue. And so for me, the 4 years of high school, I spent revoking my own identity, my own culture, and being distasteful towards it, and change myself to be able to fit in because I wanted to make friends. And the graduation of my high school, when I went back to India, I realized how distant I was from my own culture and my own people, to a point where I was like, what am I doing? Like, why am I so disdain towards my own people? And then starting college, I decided that I wanted to be more encompassed with the people of who I am most closest to, my own culture, Indians. And I started spending more time and kind of getting that back through festivals or religious services, or just being able to talk in my mother tongue without people looking at me weirdly, or you know making fun of my accent. I, at the same time, wanted to teach other people about my culture, and luckily I had a lot of accepting friends who came from every branch of background, culture, color, religion, and I would take them to Garba, put them in kurta and saris, teach them about my culture, teach them about my food by cooking for them. In return, they will teach me about theirs, which gave me a broader horizon. I think we all live in a bubble, just some are bigger because you've got to experience a lot more things in life, and you see things with a more open mind. And from going from where I hated the fact that I was Indian to being like, this is who I am and I want to share, and honestly I want to keep this for my kids as well. I want them to be able to experience the culture and the vibrancy of what Indian culture has. On top of that, now it's easier to be an Indian, at least because so many things around us has showcased the intelligence and the hard work and the discipline that Indian families have. You can see most of the tech CEOs in the parliament now, one of the candidates for US presidency is Indian, and being able to showcase that, people are able to understand, sympathize, and accept who we are as a people. Versus in my high school, it wasn't an easy task just because I was one of the only ones. I still got bullied a lot. And I think while that built character, I really wished the people who experienced this even at college level, don't give up on your own culture or who you are, because you will regret it for the rest of the time, because you won't be able to realize who you are in the mirror, because you're not going to be this or that. You're going to be trying to find a place to exist. And I'm not saying there's a right place, but always remember who you are and keep that. Don't ever change that for anyone or anything.
A popular streamer who recently moved to Canada is facing backlash over a controversial video.
Why are there so many Indians in Canada? What am I missing here? Can somebody please explain why the f there's so many Indians here?
Aiden Ross, who's originally from the US and is known for his video game streaming and was also recently banned from Twitch, posted a video asking why there are so many Indians in Canada, which has sparked outrage online, with his viewers calling him racist and many even agreeing with him.
Do you know the one thing I don't like about Australia? It's the racism towards Indians. Indians get so much disrespect in this country. If you go on any comment section on social media, you'll get comments like, Indians are hairy, they stink, they don't use deodorant, they're taking all our jobs, blah 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 blah. But in fact, they're the most hardworking people in this country. We should all be learning from them. Yeah, the Indian disrespect is getting way too much now.
Indians accept to be treated poorly in a workplace because they know that there are another 100 Indians hoping to get that job. We cannot blink our eye, we cannot ask for a holiday, we can't ask for a salary hike, because the moment we slack and take a break, there are another 100 people ready to replace us.
Okay, so I'm a sociology major, so I think about certain things more often than I should. One question that I've seen so often that I think about so much is why South Asians get so much hate. I think that it's fair to say that out of all non-Black minorities, South Asians get like a crazy amount of hatred. I remember like watching those, high school interviews and it's like, what race would you not date? It's always Indian, even though that's not really a race. But I've noticed that a lot of South Asians tend to express this like isolation as a race because they just feel so hated across the board. But I think I can pinpoint why. I think that it comes down to two different things. One, skin color, and two, just having such a tight-knit foreign culture. One thing that will separate East Asians from South Asians is that East Asians are closer to whiteness on the spectrum. I think that one similarity we can see between East Asians and South Asians is that they have very tight-knit cultures, mainly because they were able to immigrate to this country on their own. The majority of Asian people were not like forced here by slavery like Black people and came to start a new life and a lot of times had, some sort of wealth. This is where we see like a similarity of hatred against Asians in general. It's just because of the fact that this tight-knit culture was able to last that immigration. Because their culture was not stripped away from them, they were able to keep it and retain it, and that just led to a lack of assimilation. Yet we still see like a stark difference in treatment between East Asians and South Asians. And I think the difference is generally just skin color. Of all non-Black minorities, South Asians tend to be the darkest. And racially, I feel like this has garnered them a very, interesting specific place. Like you look brown, but you're not Black. So it's just like, how do I treat you? Where do I place you? And also just, again, by having that very strong cultural bond, less of that assimilation there, there's more to characterize and then put into a box and hate for like the masses. I think this is why we even see other races like Black people hate on South Asians too. Because African Americans were like completely stripped of their culture, they had to kind of create a new one in America. So much of Black culture is pretty much intertwined with what we call American culture too. Because the Black identity has basically been created here in America and is the foundation of American culture, it just feels more familiar. This is why like even Black people can other South Asian people because they still feel like somewhat in some type of group here in America. So yeah, those are just like my thoughts that I have formed in my head. If anyone just like blatantly disagrees with me or has like further insight, just let me know. I just thought this would be like an interesting thing to demonstrate and talk about.
I think it's so funny when non-brown Indian people join in other races on the Indian hate because it's like, do you not know that they're including you too? Like if they see you on the street and you're like Pakistani or some shit, like they're gonna say you're Indian. Like bro, y'all are laughing at their jokes and they're looking at you weird. Like why are you laughing? It's just very funny how y'all do not see that you guys are also included in this shit. Even if you're not Indian, to other races, they don't care. Like you look Indian, so they're gonna say you're Indian. Bro, I seen a Pakistani person commenting Indian disrespect button in someone's comments. And I'm sure every other race that saw their profile, like visited it, were probably confused as fuck as to why they were saying it. And I probably get comments like, oh, don't rope us in with you Indians. Don't rope us in with you Indians. But bro, the average racist white man does not tell a difference between us. Like they will literally call you Indian too.
So tell me, what are some misconceptions about Indian culture?
There's so many, honestly. Like, not all of